All right, guys. So the NBA has a vaccine problem, right? As 90% of the league is vaccinated, allegedly. But there are a couple cities with NBA teams in them that is going to cause them some issues, namely San Francisco and New York City, right? The two cities that have vaccine mandates, right? Vaccine mandates for people to attend indoor events. Obviously, these are two uber liberal cities ran by dictatorships, and it seems that this league, the NBA, that happens to be mostly black, is facing the brunt of these policies, as players on those teams who are not vaccinated are not going to be allowed to play, which has presented some issues and has brought this whole vaccine issue to the forefront of sports, right? We saw a little bit of it before earlier this year with Cam Newton, right? I don't know if you guys are familiar. When he was on the Patriots, the media was asking him about his vaccination status, and he was saying that, it's private. Now, the NBA does not have a vaccine mandate per se. However, for those who are not vaccinated, there are going to be more health protocols and things they have to do to be able to play. That's just kind of what they're doing here. However, the mainstream liberal media, the mainstream liberal sports media is going to do their job and essentially try to smear anybody who is not vaccinated as, again, like I said, a anti-vaxxer. And they asked one player, Mr. Jonathan Isaac, why is he vaccine hesitant? And he actually gave the perfect answer to that question. But before I get into that, I got to give my disclaimer here. I'm not making any claims about the vaccine, the pandemic, the virus, the mask. I'm not making any medical claims whatsoever. If you have any questions about the vaccine, the pandemic, the mask, the virus, if you have any questions at all about that stuff, please consult your trusted medical professional. Please consult your doctor. This video is purely about public policy only, and I'm not endorsing anything that may be said by anybody else in this video. Again, this is purely about public policy and public policy only. I'm not making any claims. Now, with that being said, guys, let's roll the clip on Mr. Jonathan Isaac, who plays for the Orlando Magic, and listen to his answer regarding why he is vaccine hesitant. Take a look.
Jonathan, Josh Robbins with The Athletic. What is it about the vaccine that makes you hesitant to get it?
I would start with I've had COVID in the past, and so our understanding of antibodies, of natural immunity, has changed a great deal from the onset of the pandemic, and is still evolving. I understand that the vaccine would help if you catch COVID, and you'll be able to have less symptoms from contracting it. But with me having COVID in the past and having antibodies, with my current age group and physical fitness level, it's not necessarily a fear of mine. Taking the vaccine, like I said, it would decrease my chances of having a severe reaction, but it does open me up to the, albeit rare chance, but the possibility of having an adverse reaction to the vaccine itself. I don't believe that being unvaccinated means infected, or being vaccinated means uninfected. You can still catch COVID with or without not having the vaccine. I would say, honestly, the craziness of it all, in terms of not being able to say that it should be everybody's fair choice without being demeaned or talked crazy to, doesn't make one comfortable to do what said person is telling them to do. I would say that's a couple of the reasons that I would say I'm hesitant at this time. But at the end of the day, I don't feel that it is anyone's reason to come out and say, well, this is why or this is not why. It should just be their decision, and loving your neighbors, not just loving those that agree with you or look like you or move in the same way that you do. It's loving those who don't.
All right, guys. So again, I gotta make it clear here. I'm not making any claims, right? And I'm not endorsing any claims that may or may not have been made in that last video. That's just purely what he said. I have nothing to do with that. Now, in regards to what his overall message was when it comes to hey, like making your own decisions, right? That's basically what he's saying. He's like, listen, I've weighed out the risk. Okay, this is my understanding of this, right? I am a fit, physically healthy man, right, that plays in the NBA, right? He's in incredible shape. He said he already had a virus before, and he's acknowledged that, hey, I could get it again. And I've weighed the pros and cons. And I've made my decision based off the pros and cons. And at the end of the day, I mean, what more can you ask for? And I also love the part where he talked about loving your neighbor, right? Regardless of whether they look like you, regardless of whether you agree with them or disagree with them, love your neighbor, right? That's what we should all be doing. And I think in this political climate, we have forgot about that, right? We forgot about loving our neighbors, regardless of, their political beliefs or, whether they look like us or whether they agree with us on all things, right? And I think this vaccine issue has really torn this country apart because it's become so politicized. I mean, we're literally talking about segregation based off vaccination status. That's what we're talking about in 2021, right? And one of the reasons why it becomes so politicized is because of the mainstream media, right? Because of those guys asking that question in the first place. And that's what kills me about this whole thing. Why is it that you're asking the man about his vaccine status in the first place? Why? What's your point? Right? What are you trying to get at? It's none of your business if the man is taking a vaccine or not. And I wish one of these people, right? I wish one of these athletes would ask one of these media members that ask these questions, right, about their health choices. I wish they would say, do you have an STD? Right? Do you have an STD? And what are you doing to help prevent the spread of your STD? Right? Put them on the spot about their personal health choices. Put them on the spot. I guarantee you, if you started putting these people on the spot, these so-called journalists on the spot, they would stop asking this silly question. It's none of their business. Nobody needs to know. Right? Nobody needs to know. So again, why are you asking the question? And guys, again, I find it interesting because this is going to end up causing some issues for some of the big name players in the NBA, like Kyrie Irving and Andrew Wiggins, right? Kyrie Irving plays for Brooklyn Nets. Andrew Wiggins plays for the Golden State Warriors. Both of those cities, New York and San Francisco, have vaccine mandates. So they're not going to be able to play at their home games because of that. So essentially, they're going to have to be, get the vaccine or not play. Again, two big name stars in the NBA. And speaking of big name stars, I also find it interesting how LeBron James has not said anything about this. You would think that after LeBron James did so much speaking up last year for the left, right, in their narrative doing the whole BLM thing, you would think that he would come out here and basically be a mascot for getting the vaccine, right? You would think he would come out here and be telling people, hey, get the shot. But he's been silent. He's been dead silent. Right? Which is surprising, again, considering how one of the reasons why the media is asking this question so much is because they want athletes to be role models, right? They want athletes to set the right example and to tell people to, go out there and get vaccinated. So they're going to ask people who are not vaccinated, what their status is or why they're not vaccinated in order to shame that person, right? To set an example out of that person, like they're doing to Kyrie Irving. But like I said, I mean, you see certain people like LeBron who hasn't said anything at all. And I think that speaks volumes about kind of how he feels, right? Which is kind of the same thing that Nicki Minaj was talking about, right? In terms of how a lot of these celebrities actually feel about this situation. They're scared to say anything. So, what Mr. Jonathan Isaac here said was very brave of him, right? It took a lot of bravery, in my opinion, to go out here and to say what he said. And I really do think he was speaking from the heart, right? He was speaking from the heart. You also had another NBA player, Bradley Beal. He said some things too. He probably went farther than Jonathan Isaac on some things, and I would play it. However, what he said was probably a little bit too spicy for YouTube. So I'm going to not play that. But regardless, I guess, what I'm saying is that, I find it interesting, how some of these players are kind of speaking out. And now you're kind of seeing a lot of these celebrities kind of come out of the closet now and kind of, express their opinions on these things that is not necessarily in line with what the left wants. And that to me is going to create kind of a nightmare situation for them as a lot of these cities implement these mandates, right? A lot of people are just like, you know what? I'm not necessarily sure if I'm on board with these mandates, considering the effect that it's having on, a lot of people that, happen to be black, that happen to be more vaccine hesitant. that's going to cause a problem for the Democrat Party, right? In a league like the NBA that's 90% black, when you got players coming out saying stuff like this, but then you have stars like LeBron James that's not necessarily coming out here and supporting these mandates, I think that's going to cause some issues. I think that's going to cause some issues for the Democrats and mainstream media in regards to, you know, their mandate policies, right? Because again, you got a lot of influential people out there, celebrities and stuff, coming out here and, you know, saying what they have to say, right? That's not necessarily in support of the mandates. And that's not necessarily something that I think that the Democrat Party and the mainstream liberal media is going to be happy about, right? So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.